What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 35 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Orion Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, Orion took on Cetra and the hordes of the Sentinels, destroying thousands upon thousands of Tomb Kings. That was probably their best shot at knocking Orion out throughout this campaign, but, well, when you come at the king, you best not miss. Looks like the Black Pyramid of Nagash will be ours next turnish, and yeah, I think the last episode was sort of like the first finale. Let's go with that. There will be, of course, a second finale once we pop the ritual of the Oak of Ages, but damn was that fun. It's been a day and I'm still riding that high. Anyway, I don't remember what we were going to do this particular turn other than the fact that Iskura had a battle before her. A forest encounter, which I'm excited to do because now we have recovery regen on our various war dancers as well. And I'm excited to see how they do. Loix, Kiss, and Dance Macabre are named there as well. What do we want to get ya? I guess we are high enough ranks to take benefit from going for Shield of the Forest, I guess. And, I mean, I guess we could go stand your ground. We could still get Forest's Roar as well. Depending on if we... Well, I mean, we're supposed to replace these guys with dragons, but dragons benefit from Forest's Roar as well, so I don't see why we wouldn't necessarily want to do that. Go for Forest's Roar. Alright, and just out of curiosity, that buff gives us an additional 5% physical resistance, so we're now up to 10% physical and 35% ward save on these guys, and then they can increase those further via various means in battle. Now, and on top of that, regen, of course. You, Shadow Dancers. Let's max out travel all paths for max movement range, and we could get Shadow... Oh no, let's get replenished troops. You, Glade Captain. You obviously have touched by Loic. Let's get you Retinue Valet into Retinue Quartermaster and then Retinue Physician afterwards. And you, Catra. Obviously you don't need these, but let's max out Replenish Troops for you as well. And spell-wise, well, you know what, let's go through Foe Seeker because we want to get Tempered Rigor so that she can be a little bit more effective in melee combat, despite the fact that we don't really need her to be when we have so many fighters in this army already.
So I dance.
Let's see what we got here. Lizardmen punished. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. You know what, I think we will... I don't like the growth reduction, the control for all provinces, but minus 40 relations with lizards is harsh, and we are not going to do this. I would love to fight a foe, but it's all of the lizards are our allies, and we need their units, or want some of their more elite units especially. But anyway, let's give this a read nonetheless. The forest is approached by an unusual force, an enormous group of Zotes, accompanied by a guard of lizardmen. The skink says that the Great Plan insists that these Zotes are the rightful inhabitants of the forest, and must be allowed to tend to it at your side. However, the forest spirits are reluctant to share power with the Zotes, whose true intentions are unknown. They urge that you slay them all. Okay there, Forest Spirits. Relax. Yeah. Recruitment for Zotes, recruit rank for Zotes, and plus diplomatic relations with lizards. And we're gonna admit the Zotes. Alright, and I guess, Iskura, you're going to be... Hey. You're gonna be sitting here, waiting for the ritual. We could, in theory... no, not pop this ritual next turn. Oh, right, you also have... how long until the hunt? 2 turns. We could reduce these fairly significantly. I'll think about it. We'll see. And we could build up the Sacred Pools and the other thing as well. What else do we have this turn, then? I also think that there was another ritual somewhere, wasn't there? Yeah, there's one all the way back here. I mean, I guess Drake... well, no, if we're popping the Griffin Woods ritual, we probably won't be able to go there, but we'll see. Anyway, who else still needs to move this turn, then? Ellendelling. Ooh. Perhaps, if these guys aren't gonna run, we might be able to knock out Bellicor's force for good. Let's see, let's also level up just in case. You have Swift and Sturdy, and I think that's everything for this particular army. Anything else we might want? You have your Glade Captain, which does have Possessed by the Trickster gun. Ooh, you have... well, that's a question. Do we go for Death from Above, or do we get the Vigor Loss Reduction and the Strider for Cav? Thing is, these guys all already have Strider, so it does nothing. Fear for Hawks is pretty good. Vigor Loss Reduction 10% is also not crazy significant. But Vigor is very nice in SFO. I say Born to Ride just because of the sort of theme of this particular army. Thematically, it makes more sense. Then you are going to start moving through Life of Isha because we really do want the additional healing. You, Talsyn, could probably go for Sabotage, more armor reduction, especially since the regular Glade Riders, they don't do much damage and they could use a little bit more by reducing the enemy's armor. And then you, Elendilling, oh, I didn't pick one. We do have Eye of Khorne already on the Waystalker. We have Dance of Loix. We could get a base form of either one. I'm going to say the regular Eye of Khorne, not the Sight Beyond Sight, because it'll still stack with the one provided by the Waystalker. And that'll mean more range buffs. Anyway, let's see if these guys are willing to fight and allow us to destroy Bellor and then leave Norska as a ruin for good. Yes, they will indeed fight a valiant defeat according to them, but, well, I think they just haven't learned. Kill them all, Elendilling. Alright, here we go. Elendilling into the fight once more, continuing to make Norska and Chaos look like a complete joke, as they're unable to reach her army. And, well, I mean, compared to the forces that Orion fought, it was last episode, right? All the piles of Tomb Kings around Cetra and the Black Pyramid. Anyway, compared to that, this shouldn't be anywhere near as difficult, but it is still a fairly large amount of Chaos troops, though the enemy lord outside the settlement won't live to see whether they manage to make us work for the victory here. Though I do imagine that we will have to work for it. We saw with Sigvald's single army, Sigvald's single stack, I should say. We saw that we essentially came to like 99% of running out of ammunition there, so there's a decent likelihood that that could happen here as well. It's definitely the danger with this particular army. Granted, the Sisters of the Thorn and the Hawk Riders can fight in melee just fine, but they're obviously not going to be able to fight directly against, like, Chaos Warriors and Chosen and stuff like that, so we still do have to be careful. Anyway, the enemy reinforcement stacks, the reinforcing 2 stacks, spawn on the field in a big old blob, and we hit them with a nice Flock of Doom. The enemy also sends its fast movers, including Chaos Feral Manticore, towards us, which manages to kill off 2 units of Sisters of the Thorn. I figured we might be able to destroy it before the Prey of Anathrema runs out, but alas, I popped it a little bit too late. Or I think I figured maybe we could just pop the Curse of Anra here and slow it down between that and Poison, and that would make it slow enough to kill it before it reaches us, but no, it does look like the Prey of Anathrema was required. Fortunately, it looks like it is looking like it's going to melt soon, and ooh, gotta be careful with that range fire, as I think we brought down one of our own Sisters of the Thorn, and the Manticore brought down a third. More damage than we've taken in a fairly large number of battles with Elendilling's army, so we're gonna be a little bit more careful and start backing off a little bit more, leaving a little bit more room between us and our foe. And now have a summoned unit of Eagles on the field, and I believe we'll be getting a second one on field shortly. Chaos Spawn chasing us down, though at the very least our Waystalker shouldn't be particularly threatened, and the last of the Chaos Spawn should be brought down by Javelin and by Arrow. Alright, what do we have here? Big ol' stack still heading towards us. Our ammunition still, well, it's at about 40%. Is that looking okay or is it not? Kinda hard to say. Hopefully we won't have to emergency send our Glade Riders into melee. I think the main problem with this particular army is that, depending on the stacks that it's fighting, it's going to have a difficult time against any 2-stack army, and a basically extremely difficult time against any 3-stack, because it will run out of ammunition on like 1.5 stacks by the look of it, and possibly even against 1 stack depending on how heavily armored and how missile resistant said stack is. Whereas obviously some of our other armies wouldn't have that same kind of issue and would be able to fight multiple stacks for, well, to a different degrees of effectiveness. I suppose our other ranged army would also have a difficult time with it, and due to its lack of speed, the other ranged army, the Swift Shiver Shards and Way Watchers, they would have an even more difficult time against many stacks, because once they run out of ammunition, they won't be able to fight in melee in the way that the Hawk Riders and the Sisters of the Thorn can. Anyway, enemy continues sending big ol' monsters at us, or monstrous infantry. Chaos Spawn will get brought down yet again. Do have a big old Chaos War Shrine heading towards us, but these things are pretty darn vulnerable. Having experienced the AI focusing down my own sport units pretty much at all times, and I think the same thing can be said for pretty much everybody who plays this, it's always nice to do the same to the AI. Taste of its own medicine will bring the Chaos War Shrine down here. And, okay, in 30% more HP. And there are still plenty of Chaos Warriors and Chosen heading towards us. And Marauders, and just generally whatnot. Alright, 86 HP, come on now, go down. Nice Arrow of Khorne into the enemy Sorcerer Lord. Gotta stop it casting those Spirit Leeches upon us. And Dancing Arrow up above the Chaos War Shrines remains. Chaos Lord down about 30% HP, enemy line drawing closer to us, and uh-oh, this is starting to get concerning. Most of our Sisters of the Thorn are now out of ammunition, most of our Glade Riders are out of ammunition, our Hawk Riders are out of ammunition, and oh my. Oh, it looks like we got a few more volleys left of a couple of units. And this is where the battle may potentially get difficult and or interesting. The enemy has very few units remaining. Maybe if we were to kill off the enemy Lord, then we could get enough of a morale shot going. They also have a unit of Aspiring Champions here. This is definitely a critical unit to destroy. Take the heads off of those who are trying to focus them down with our Lords and Heroes. As obviously, none of our cav units are going to have a good time dealing with Aspiring Champions. I'm just going to have to keep backing away until that particular unit is dead. Fortunately, there are a decent number of enemy units that are either routing or shattered right now, and we can send our Hawk Riders, which are out of ammunition, to rip them apart as they run. Every single additional unit destroyed will contribute to enemy army losses and reduce the enemy morale further. Same thing goes with Forest Dragon and Breath, which will cut a, well, decent swath of destruction through a couple of units of Chaos Warriors. Aspiring Champion unit is still alive, and unfortunately it looks like we're out of ammunition on our Lord as well, and our Waste Stalker. Ooh, but just as we run out of ammunition, the enemy army will break once again. So close. Looks like a Chaos Spawn unit will be the only thing left alive. I think, our Glade Captain has a few arrows, and looks like one of the Glade Riders has a few arrows left. And that is it. Damn. I guess if those were two just completely full stacks, then we would have been forced into a melee where we wouldn't want to be in this army. But once again, it worked out for Helen Delling, the Norse and Chaos Huntress. All those Norscan invasions of Loren and the surrounding environs, she really took that personally. Anyway, there's just a few more Chaos Spawn, a little bit of melee action, since we've all been arranged. I kind of teased the melee action possibility in this particular battle. So at least we can watch the Glade Captain and the Waste Stalker take on a few Chaos Spawn. And I do love the way that the Waste Stalkers look in this particular mod. Orion is by far my favorite. I feel like, does anybody know of a mod that lets you, like, choose, like, which units would get, like a which units get to like a modded appearance and which ones don't. Like you could click like individual units, like select, so you could perhaps download a bunch of different graphical mods that change units, and then select which units would get each modification. I don't know if that's actually possible or if such a thing exists, but if it does, please let me know, because it would be nice to pick and choose. Anyway, decisive victory, and very, very close by virtue of the running out of ammunition, but still, Elendilling wins yet again, and the shadow will fall as Bellacor's faction is done. Alright, the victory may have been decisive, but I think it was closer than the game is letting on. That was the first time this army completely ran out of ammunition, and the enemy broke just as we essentially fired off our last arrows. So in theory, there was potential for us being forced into melee, which the Glade Riders with Hagbane tips wouldn't be particularly adept at. The Sisters of the Thorn and the Hawk Riders would be okay at it, and decent at it, good at it, but against Chaos Warriors or Chosen with Halberds, certainly might have been an issue for them. We're gonna abduct those captives, and we should be able to delete the Monolith of Catan and destroy Mr. Bellor right about now. Alright, there we are. And ooh, 13k for raising this? Yeah, we'll raise it. We'll raise it. Hopefully the damage isn't too bad, and by the looks of it, it is not. So you could just sit there, Elendilling. Shadow Legion is destroyed, and we will jump on over by the world routes here and then heal up. And then head back to Lorelorn Forest. Lovely. Absolutely lovely. Ah, you're nearly tier 5 as well. And seasoned campaigner for Elendilling. Frankly, considering how much we've been going around all over the map, everybody should be a seasoned campaigner by now. Let's see. Who else needs to move this particular turn, though? Okay, builders and recruiters and guardians do not. Who is Circo again? Oh, right, Circo. You are supposed to go to the Witchwood. Thought he could go there for a second. Alright, you're supposed to go to the Witchwood, and are you the last one that needed to move? Who's Elendilling? Oh, the other Elendilling, yes. You're just essentially holding these troops, because I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing with Stressleith yet. Though, actually, speaking of Stressleith, I did want another one of these Shadow Warriors with him. So I feel like it kind of works with the Malevolence and the Beasts. Where is Nagaroth? Okay, not nearly enough. Not nearly enough. There's a decent chance we may never use this army, but I just kind of want it around in case. There's possibility for it. Anyway, I do believe that is indeed then the end turn, so we can... Do we skip? Yeah, we skip. I was wondering whether we should build some outposts, but I think we're okay right now. We just don't have the allegiance to make use of them anyway. 2 more turns until the Wild Hunter turns, and then next turn Draca starts up her ritual in the Griffin Wood, meaning we get to fight a little bit more with Draca as well. Trait gains Supervisor for Draca. And I can't end the campaign without Draca doing her own ritual. Now, she's obviously my favorite of the Wood Elf Lords. Peace, treaty, and payments? No, Camry, sorry. I mean, I guess we could leave them alive, in theory. But then, they might just redeclare war on us, and it would be kind of annoying if they did. Although, on the other hand, would they be too scared? That's a question as well. Alright, and Supervisor for Game, what are you doing? Oh, right, the ritual is complete. Lovely. And because the ritual is complete, we can immediately build this. Temple of Isha, physical resistance plus 5% faction-wide. May as well get even stronger. And that immunity to chaos, corruption, and chaos attrition, that actually would have been useful way back when. And when essentially we went into Norska, which was a while ago. Ready for duty Tech Thief, and Nethu, the Keeper of the Last Door, will be our next tech, which will give us 10% extra post-battle loot, and then obviously this buff. 4 melee attack and physical resistance for Elf Infantry. Winds of Pain. Oh, that's lovely. We actually could use that in several armies. Young Stag, and hey, another Amber. Oh, I guess we should switch techs. And the abundant growth will counteract the unhappy tree spirits, I guess. Let's give this a read. You have successfully completed the ritual of rebirth, healing the world roots beneath the Gaian Veil, and granting the forest its glory and sentience once more. The forces of chaos shall never cease to be a grave threat to the world, but bolstering the world roots in this region has brought greater balance to the weave, stifling their efforts to weaken the vortex and allow demon kind into the world once more. Ritual of rebirth available, sacred pools, well, comes up just as we do that, but the one that we're going to do will be the one at Griffin Wood. Perform ritual. Enemies muster 1, 2, and 3. And can we see them all? 1, 2, 3. Yes, they are reachable, let's say. This one's the furthest away. Alright, and is this... Yeah, it looks different to me. The ritual of rebirth has been successfully initiated in this region. Once Griffin Wood is fully healed by the ritual, it will revitalize the world roots beneath. But take heed, the malevolent and misguided tree spirits which reside here are ignorant to your greater purpose, and blinded by their anger at your presence. They gather their forces nearby in preparation for an attack, defend the glade from them at all costs, and ensure the ritual is completed. Huh. Interesting that it's fighting other malevolent tree spirits. I was expecting it to be undead, but I'm actually happy that it isn't because, well, Draco spent a lot of time fighting them. A little bit of Wood Elf on Wood Elf action, I guess, or Tree Spirit on Tree Spirit action. Now, funnily enough, I wonder how Draco would feel about that. Because she has that line about, have you ever slain a dryad or anything like that. Ritual of Rebirth. Lovely. All right. And once again, we start from the beginning. Orion, you... They're probably not going to be willing to fight, at least I doubt it, but we'll see. So do we raise Numas? I kind of still like the idea of creating this ruin barrier, so I think we destroy Numas and Khemri for good. Oh, speaking of Khemri, go for the... I mean, I guess since we're going to have an army here, we can actually make money here, so yeah. Alright, start with you. Steel Tech at 5, that's actually not so bad. And, hey, you actually succeeded, lovely. And then you... 4% at Sunken Kurnar, go for it. You won't be able to reach it this turn? Oh no, and you didn't have any Steel Tech, oh no, oh no. 407, if we go below 400, this will be 2 turns rather than 1. Oh. Also, out of these, construction for infrastructure buildings, local recruitment, and growth, which is nice. I'm going to say, go for the wisdom of the poplar, growth and recruitment duration. Not that we are super reliant on the recruitment duration anymore at this time, but nonetheless. In case we do. Orion, will deal with you in a second. Stressleith, I would like you to raise probably Numas, and then move into Khemri, and then sit there for the rest of the campaign. Oh. I was going to send you down to Mount Arachna. Ah, whatever. Alright, obviously we'll auto-resolve this, as it is not worth our time, and we will... Ah, another warrior band. Nice. Honestly, it's probably not worth raising. Seed it, abandon it after, heal up this way. And another Forbidden Rod. Khemri destroyed. Qatar abandoned. Also, once again, I'm abandoning all these settlements just because we don't want to essentially just sit around waiting for them to... waiting for enemies to attack them. Dave, I'm doing this out of order, aren't I? Go hit Cyprus. Help knock Clan Moors out. Your mana's fine. Campaign movement range, maybe?
Proud son of Athel Loren.
Alright, and these guys probably don't have much in the... Wow, this is probably their last army. I imagine Emmerich will try to go for them anyway, but I think we can... Ow. I don't want to suffer attrition for it, though. I'd go right to the edge of this, and then we'll see. Ah, I said I don't want to suffer attrition. Sorry, Dave. And... I guess it's Clan Rictus at Bitter Bay? Or nobody? Hard to say. Alright, back to doing things in order minus Orion, though, because I've gotten confused. Deluric, you are going to hit Castle von Rauken, and oh, is it well enough defended that you won't be able to? I think you won't be able to. Yeah. Alright, I'll probably manually fight this garbage between the episodes. Deluric's army is not liked by the auto-resolve because it's not a real army, which kind of does make sense. But it's all good. I will think about your levels. I'll deal with you between the episodes. Anyway, Durthu. Guess you're up next. Hopefully I don't forget that I'd besiege that. Oh, you're still kind of damaged. Can we get you to join war against Clan Moors now? Let's find out. Where is Clan Moors? 3.2. You know what? I'm gonna do this just because it'll make them a little bit happier with the Knights of Caledor. Anybody else that you could declare war on that the Knights of Caledor would be happy about? They probably have no diplomatic contact with the Zatan. I wonder how they feel about the... Nah, they like each other. Alright, so I guess it's just going to be the Khornate forces. What's your cost for joining war against exiles? 7.5. Alright, that's doable. I might even give them 10k, but they definitely do it for Great Hall of Greasus once we trade it to them. So just let Durthu heal for one more turn, and then go for it. Because it does have decent defenses. Not that it would be of any concern to Durthu's army, obviously. Alright, and we'll send Durthu to do the ritual at the jungles of Qian. Wait, Durthu destroyed the... Durthu was the one that destroyed the ogres. So he has done a ritual. Alright, I'll think about it. We'll see. Depending on whether we want to send other armies elsewhere. Luren, you would be able to reach Gorgazan, which is somewhat sparsely defended, but also probably not worth an on-screen fight this late in the campaign. So I'll probably do this between the episodes real quick as well. Although I am a little bit wary of the attrition that we will suffer afterwards. Valiant defeat. Oh! They do have a Bloodthirster, which we haven't seen. Okay, maybe I'll fight maybe we'll fight this on screen. Maybe. We haven't seen Luren fight in a while, admittedly. So it may be worth our time to do so. Datan, you cannot reach anything, but we will want you to march forward into the territory of the, into these territories here. We will give the Temple of Skulls, return it to these guys, and have them join war against the exiles. And we want to keep them friendly with Imric, so how about exiles and oracles and maybe Moors? Well, Moors will be dead next turn, so it probably doesn't matter. Oh, 5.5. Okay, we're not giving you that much money. Fine, no oracles then, no oracles. Anything else? Harbinger of Disaster, maybe? Yeah, let's do that. You know what? Keep your money so that you don't die. I don't want to be babysitting them, that's the thing. Alright, that looks good to me. Who's up next? I started doing it out of order again, didn't I? Yes, I did. But oh well, Iskura. You don't need to move anymore, at least not until your own ritual. Elendilling, we will jump you far as we can. I think so. Alright, don't bother with them. Leave Norska in absolute shambles. May even grab Pack Ice Bay here just for another one of these ports. They do good money generation for us after all. Alright, that's Elendilling. Builder's Alto doesn't need to move. Guardian doesn't need to move. Sisters. Looks like you won't be able to hit Hotek's Column from here, so we'll jump you there. And hit Hotek's Column next turn. We'll probably raise the Twisted Glade and Hotek's Column, and just create a little bit of a ruin barrier for Alethan Heart to maybe survive. As long as Morathi isn't moving up, and since we've forced the Hexoatl Lizards to declare war on Morathi, it looks like she's content to sit there. Although, if she takes these territories from them, that might not be good for these territories of ours. We'll have to wait and see. Recruiters, builders, don't need to move. Circo, you will only move once the Wild Hunt ceases to slumber. Draika will move in a second. Oh, for the love of... Oh, I really wish it didn't go to the top of the list. It always confuses the heck out of me. Draika. Alright, there's two things that I wanted you to do. The first is not to attack. We'll save that for next episode. But now that you're here, you allow for branch wraiths to be recruited at rank 18. And there's a very good reason that we wanted that. And oh, another thing that I wanted was Warrior Bane on every dryad of yours. And we just got another one. So before I forget... Warrior Bane 4. There we go. All of Draika's line of dryads when they have Warrior Banes. Biting Blade we don't really care about. Because we can combine Earthing Rod and Scroll of Blast. We don't have much in the way of items. Armor of Silvered Steel will go to one of our Waystalkers. Biting Blade will just delete and turn into something useful. Yeah, not much in the way of spare items. All good. Alright, and then, while we're here, we're gonna go Branch Wraith. I don't know if we'll get the chance to use them, but what I want to do is make an army with, like, 9 Branch Wraiths and 9 regular Dryads, because since we can recruit them at rank 18, every single one will be able to go Willow, Oak, and Birch. I want to see the degree to which we can max those Branch Wraiths out. Obviously, they'll be a little bit weaker without Draika and Coadil present, but still, it's a lot of Branch Wraiths to max those Dryads. Anyway, Draika will start moving you into these fights next episode. We'll probably have time for one quick fight this episode. And I've lost my place. Not Stresslath, not Elendilling. Akka, yes. Okay, you are moving to Blackstone Post. We need to deal with Heinrich Kemmler. Go here. And yeah, the Bretonnians are looking like they're going to attack him anyway, but, well, this probably won't warrant an actual fight, but we need to make sure that we're nearby in case something happens. Dulcith, you need to sit in Nagorond, and now that you're there, you can be Guardian Dulcith. Oh, for the love... Okay. There you go. And of course it went to the top of the list again. Yeah. Oh, Guardian Dulcith was one of the last that needed to move. Troop Barrymore Lana, I don't need you here. You're supposed to give these troops to Deluric once we have the other Dragon Princes and once we have Demigryph Knights. Oh, the outpost isn't complete. Not 2 more turns. Alright, alright, wait, it's not like we're in a hurry, and it's not like we really need them. Although Deluric would then be able to auto-resolve Castle Von Rock, and I wouldn't have to do it between the episodes. Anyway, let's see first things first. Orion. Go again, sir. Destroy. And they will run. Oh, well, isn't that a shame? Alright, I guess they are not then worth fighting. Goodbye. Yeah, they had some good stuff, but let's say, compared to what we faced off against, especially with them refusing a cinematic battle, not worth our time. 30k, lovely. Talking about some of it? Okay. And then reclaim it. I don't know whether it is actually a special location, but I guess we're about to find out. Colonize. And it is. Lovely. A little bit unfortunate that we can't build a landmark here. It's a little bit odd that we can't, but, well, whatever. And now, presumably this guy will besiege us here, so we will sit outside the settlement. In which case, well, such that we don't take damage, and then Stresslath can move back there. Anyway, then, if that is not the battle we're fighting, the battle that we will fight, you know what? Once again, I said Luren has not fought a fight in, I don't know, like 4 episodes or something like that, so we will do his fight. Now, you have everything that you need, do you not?
My journey begins.
I believe you do. So, what can we get here? Now, we probably want to move in through Prey of Anathema. Alright, so let's get you Fleetfinger and... let's start with Fleetfinger. I lied. Now, we're going to start with Tempered Rigor because it's a... 12-12 is really, really big. You already have Tempered Rigor and Retinue Physician, which is the important stuff. Well, we probably wouldn't need Ward of Loic. It's not like Khorne is going to have a lot of ranged attacks for us. 30 armor, pretty solid. 30 weapon strength, really solid. Alright, Violent Delights and into Colossal... whatever it was. Colossal Strike, I think. Training, not necessary in this army. Cunning, probably not necessarily in this army. Sabotage is Cleanse the Forest, not useful because we don't really charge. Let's go now through Sword Player and into Tempered Rigor for you as well. Same thing with you, assuming... Okay, wait. You guys both have a sight beyond sight and you don't? Yeah, that's fine. You will want to go Sabotage. Yeah. Just double checking that I didn't forget anything. And you will want to get... Sabotage is maxed out. Let's get you Foe Seeker. And I guess Tempered Rigor as well. Honestly, these guys are rarely, if ever, in melee, so it doesn't really matter anyway. You, one with the forest, please. 10% more research. Just keeping us over that 400, which we really need. And let's fight some Khornates. This wasn't on the list, but let's see how we do against them. Go. Alrighty, onward and upward, at least with the arrows and the limited number of ranged units that we have. Anyway, here we go. Oh, maybe I could just shorten that to any go, since I say it at the start of every single fight. But anyway, we've got to face off against some Khornates here, which we have not seen a lot of throughout this entire campaign. A little bit of a change of pace, I suppose, for the Wood Elves. Though admittedly, we are generally fairly far from most of the Khornate stuff, so hardly surprising. Valkia is very far, and, well, we are only reaching Scarby's territories now. Though admittedly, that's not like they've been a very high priority. Anyway, our aerial units are attempting to bring down the tower, and I, well, maybe not regret it, but maybe you should have had the range units focus it down instead. Not entirely sure whether it would have been faster or not. The dragon should, in theory, destroy towers reasonably quickly. But anyway, and now we're just going to take up position on this big old ramp here and watch the enemy come to us. A Forest Dragon Breath rips through the line of Bloodletters and Chaos Warriors of Khorne with the dual axes. And though it does look like those Bloodletters are rushing towards us, unfortunately, the units of the Swift Shiver Shards are a very, very solid unit to use against Bloodletters in particular, vulnerable as they are to missile fire and magical missile fire in particular. Swift Shiver Shards can certainly do that, and of course do even more damage as the enemy closes the distance, and due to their close range ability. And wellity, if it isn't Khorne's bloody fist about to be bloodied as it attempts to head towards our line of units only to get stopped by the prey of Anathrema. That means that's a lot of arrow fire moving towards it. It gets hit by 2 arrows of Khorne and plummets to its, well, death isn't quite right, but plummets to its banishment, I suppose. I do like that it was on fire as it was falling to the ground. It's pretty neat. Anyway, down goes Khorne's bloody fist. Some Chaos Warriors are out as well, and we can move deeper into the enemy settlement, like so. Speed it up a little bit, and gonna fire over the lip of this sort of plateau and into more Bloodletters, who are going to be particularly unhappy about this. Alrighty, down they go. Who is next? We do have some Marauders of Khorne with dual weapons heading towards us. They got 48 speed on them, which is pretty darn decent. And I was about to say, might be able to reach us. They are getting hit with Bleed and Toxic Venom. And nice move from the AI as it sends a unit of Furies to hit us right behind the first unit, meaning it allows the Marauders to close. And if our unit were to retreat, it would have to retreat through the line of Furies. Nice job, AI. And we are still going to melt the Furies fairly quickly, and we'll try to back away with the damage unit of Deepwood Scouts, while we anchor the line with our Forest Dragon, our Lord on Forest Dragon, and our Glade Captain. And the enemy's going to take advantage of that, however, moving in more Furies, led by a unit of, or a spawn of Khorne. I've never been particularly happy with the single entity spawns of Khorne, mostly because they're A, big old target, and B, the auto-resolve seems to hate them. Though I do really like the way that SFO handles the Chaos spawns. It makes them very different from each other, so it doesn't feel like they're just sort of reskins of the same unit. But the Chaos Spawn of Khorne is one that I've never personally found particularly useful. Anyway, and down goes the spawn, and we are going to have to move our single entities forward. It looks like the enemy is mobbing us, and our Swift Shiver Shards, or our Deepwood Scouts, or range units in general, have started to take damage. Fortunately, between the three Waste Stalkers and our Lord and our Captain, we have 5 single entities to hold the line and hold the enemy back. And you gotta remember that Waste Stalkers, especially with Tempered Rigor, are fairly decent in melee as well, with decent stats. We saw Orion's Waste Stalker fighting back-to-back with him, what, 2 or 3 episodes ago when we fought the massive piles of Tomb Kings there. And yes, I'm still riding that high. That was fantastic. And it looks like our single entities are holding back the tide of Khornates fairly nicely. Took a teensy bit of damage on a couple of our units. Not a lot of unit losses, but still. Probably overextended a teensy bit here. Ooh, it does look like a pile of Chaos Warriors with halberds. Still kind of interesting that it's Khornate ones that have halberds. Will rush towards us, bypassing our single entities. Though it looks like a few of them don't know what to do, as some of them back off only to get smashed by javelins and by arrows. Bounce power's at about 90% in our favor. Our single entities are still surrounded, but still very much holding the enemy off here. And sometimes I might consider this cheap, but we have 5 single entities, which it isn't like one unit forcing the enemy to blob up. B, we have a bridge here, so it's a relatively narrow space where we can hold the enemy off anyway, so a relatively small number of units being used like this is okay. And C, if we really wanted to, we could not do this, have these guys stay back here, and then simply back our units off while the enemies died, and it would have ended up essentially being the same thing. So, I think not a big deal of using our single entities to hold the enemy off like this. Anyway, Swift Shiver Shards are coming down. The enemy's stuck in place for a few more seconds with the Tormentor Sword, or 12 more seconds with the Tormentor Sword. And for this, we do move our single entities away so that they can fire into the enemy while they're stuck. Arrows of Khorne are doing massive amounts of damage to the line of Khornates, and it looks like these 2 units are pretty much destroyed. More units coming in, however, a Forest Dragon Breath will take about half of the HP off a unit of shielded Chaos Warriors of Khorne. And heavily damaged as they now are, those shields aren't going to be enough to get them close to our range units. Alrighty, and I hear horns. Are those the retreat horns? Indeed, it looks like they are, as the enemy army will shatter. Hardly surprising against the ranged army, especially in a settlement assault. I would have actually been interested to see what this would have been like if it was a field battle and the entirety of the enemy army rushed towards us. I'd wager they would have done a little bit better than the ogres did, when the ogres were basically obliterated by this army. But nonetheless, anyway, last unit on the field, or last unit that was on the field, the Blood Shrine, that quickly gets brought down and explodes. Lovely. Alrighty, there we go. I got a little bit ahead of myself sending all of our range units so close to the Khornate troops, but at the end of the day, our single entities were able to hold the line and fight a little bit in melee, which for the Waste Stalkers is kind of necessary because they basically have no ammunition and run out in like 5 seconds, so, you know, it's still weird. Waste Stalkers should have infinite ammunition, essentially. But anyway, 6,000 gold, decent. Enemy army destroyed. Enemy settlement ceded and abandoned because I'd rather heal the army up while we make our way southward. Probably maybe raise Dark Rule Migdal as well. Though I suppose Tresleith could do that for us, or both armies could do it, depending. Anyway, folks, with that, we are out of time, and I'm going to call the episode here. And next time, we will do the ritual of a Griffin Wood as best we can, and then, well, I keep promising that we'll try to mill some turns, and, well, we will try to mill some turns to get to the next ritual fast as we can. Sorry, sneezed. Hopefully not into the mic. Hopefully that wasn't too loud, and I get blamed for deafening everybody. Anyway, more Orion to come. Less than 5 episodes remaining in the campaign, so stay tuned. Enjoy it while you can. You'll miss it when it's gone, I'm sure, because I certainly will. Likes and comments below. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.